Hi, my name is Linda Brundage. I'm the HR manager at Heathrow Scientific in Vernon Hills, Illinois. You were patient with me, because I was like, well, what if I don't ever get a yes? And I decided 7 times what I really want to cover. And you were like, okay, so what about this? And what about that? And let me give you some ideas. And so I felt like you were on my side and you didn't need to be. You weren't getting anything in the beginning. So I'm very thankful. So I would say I love oak and reeds, and I think it's unusual training because it's excellent quality. It's tailored to your organization's needs, and there's a genuine concern to try to help make a true change in your company and the way you operate, not just a presentation that everybody's supposed to enjoy and like, and then we all go to breakfast and forget it. So what originally prompted me is that I actually had a budget for it, and it wasn't a huge budget, but because of my experience with other companies, I know training is positive. I know it's helpful. If I get the right thing, it's going to have an impact. And so it took me a while having conversations with Dave Collins about how to really focus on what we actually need for us. I think that's the thing that I enjoyed the most about working with you and your organization is that you really helped me tailor it to what we really needed. So it was customized in a sense. Maybe not the topics, but how we approached it and everything. So it was very useful. And I think the thing that I noticed the most looking out at our group is that, there's a lot of support, obviously, for the executive level, right? But the boots on the ground supervisors that would run into this person didn't show up for work, this person is hanging out in their car, this person is doing this thing, or this person's doing really good. Can I give them anything? I mean, and everybody was doing their own stuff. Nobody was like talking to each other and saying, let me bounce it off you because you're also a manager. Remember when we went to that training? Remember when we talked about such and such? So that's what I was hoping to get from it. For me, I mean, I'm towards the end of my career, right? And so you'd think I know it all, but not necessarily so. And I did see in our company the need for our managers to get together more, to learn more, to have a common conversation. But I enjoyed it so much that I've used it in my personal life quite a bit. Specifically, the situational behavior impact and discussion. I used it with my husband and we ended up having a really good conversation. So instead of, hey, buddy, stop this, or this annoys me, and so then I told, the owner how great this was. And so but I think I'm the one who thinks it's the greatest. With the group, the best thing we got out of it is your recommendation to keep meeting. So I did the first meeting, a month later, and I went over some of the things that I had learned and used and asked them about their feedback and stuff. And I think it's in their head. They want to keep meeting. And we put an agenda together to continue and things to cover. So, and then next month, somebody else is going to present the coaching piece from the training. So I think it's going to really blossom. And it was a super great idea. I feel like that's how you make the training continually useful. And the owner is so proud or excited about it that he wants me to present at our next town hall of like, hey, this is what managers are doing. This is the type of training. And here's a sample 5-minute thing of what, kind of the conversation. He was a little hesitant at first, like when I'm like, hey, I figured out what we need to do and this is what I want to do. And he's like, well, we haven't done that kind of training for that level before. And so when I told him afterwards that I used, the thing, and I gave him the example for that I did with my husband, and he's like, and then I said, and the training went, we're going to keep doing the. He goes, you did that. You did that. I said, well, thank you for letting me. So I don't know. It was an HR, like you don't always get those things. You don't always get to do what you think is going to work. And it did work and he's happy with it. And I think it can only go up from here. Well, I think that Dave is perfect person to actually deliver it because you tailored it for what we specifically needed. Like in the beginning, you wrote everything on the board of like asking every single person what they wanted. So you took like responsibility saying, I am going to make sure you all get something from this. And I think that it was kind of like the way to get buy-in. Every single person in that room participated. I mean, I knew they had to show up, right? But they all participated and were sincere and took it seriously because of the way that it was introduced and the way that it was handled. And one of the things, this is a little thing, but one of the things that I love is that you walked around the room. And I know it seems kind of silly, but the fact that you changed and we had to follow you and you were looking and focusing on different people brought every single person into it, even the quiet ones. So I really like how you set the tone and how you took responsibility for making sure we got something from it. It is awesome. And it is unique. You know what I mean? It's not, you can pay for somebody to come. We're going to do emotional intelligence, and you can have a really good insight and presentation, but the facilitation at the level that you took it to for the personalness of it, I have not seen that much before. So, I think the thing that landed for the group was when we did the where you had to listen to the other person and not say anything and just make sure you were hearing them. And because we all think we listen all the time, right? And just because you heard something doesn't mean you were actually listening. And so I think that had the most impact for people to say, oh, maybe when I'm hearing what your words are, when I'm ready to say my thing, I'm really not listening. So I would say that for the group. For me, I really enjoyed the coaching thing the most. I mean, nobody would volunteer. And I thought, I'm the one that wanted this thing, so I'm going to have to volunteer. And it was very personally useful. I think it's given us a starting point for conversations. I mean, it's given us a focus of everybody really does try hard already. Like, I think that's great about our group. Everybody is accountable and responsible for their job, but they're not necessarily looking at, and am I approaching things the way that we agreed to as a group. So it's given us words to use, conversation, and a kind of it's really just a starting point, I think, at this point for how we want to interact with our employees and how we want to treat them.